First of all, let me please thank you for corralling us and keeping us focused today, and thank also my friend President Jorge Sampaio for his extraordinary leadership on this issue. I'd also like to just take a moment and underscore a point that earlier speakers have alluded to, and that is that these problems, tuberculosis and HIV, and indeed other global health problems, are beyond the scope of any one sector. Indeed, we all have to be working together, whether it's governments, international organizations, civil society, or the business community. And I commend everybody here who has taken the time to join with us. And I would particularly like to thank and acknowledge the contribution of civil society, their leadership and energy on the ground and making the programs that are funded by these organizations and by your governments is absolutely indispensable. Business has a huge role to play. It has a huge moral obligation to be tackling HIV and TB just by virtue of its huge role in society. It has a huge moral obligation, but it also has a huge vested interest. We heard earlier about the tremendous economic impact of tuberculosis and HIV, especially in the developing world. By mitigating, if not eradicating, these health challenges, we can promote development. Business is at the center of this. It has an interest, and it also has the means. It has the technology, the know-how, the resources, and the infrastructure to move mountains when it comes to big projects. And I will put global health and TB and HIV exactly in that category of big projects. Business knows how to get things done, and it can be harnessed to do that. Let me give you just a couple of examples. First of all, the most obvious one is TB and HIV in the workplace. Businesses, especially in those countries where TB and HIV are raging, can mount very effective workplace TB and HIV programs. And when the two diseases coexist, the joint management, the joint screening, the joint technical and clinical management of these diseases in the business context, in the company context, can be very, very effective. But businesses, have an obligation and a responsibility and an interest far beyond the factory wall. And we see this at the Global Business Coalition, which is a group of 225 businesses working around the world to fight HIV, TB, and malaria. We see the very successful models that they develop for their own companies being exported or expanded into the communities that have invited them in to work. Tonight, for example, GBC will be honoring Xstrata, which is a major mining company, which has done an amazing job of tackling HIV and tuberculosis in its own employee base, and then has taken that program to the community where it works, partnering, very importantly, with local governments and with civil society and with the donor community. In fact, it's with PEPFAR, who's represented here today, to take those successful learnings and expand them and make them much more successful on a much broader scale. Second, Becton Dickinson, which has done some tremendous work in terms of improving diagnostics and testing around TB, pioneering some major new technologies, and all of these tools are things that we need. I'd like to leave you with one more example before I wrap up, and that's something that I don't see a lot of in the business community. I don't see a lot of in civil society generally, and that's public information and public education around tuberculosis. We've done a lot of public information and public education around HIV, and we've seen tremendous results in terms of reducing stigma, reducing discrimination, reducing transmission of the disease by promoting safe practices. The same can be done with TB. And what I would like to see, and I would call on anybody and everybody here who has a role to play, to join and to look at opportunities to expand public education around tuberculosis. Let me end where I began. We're all in this together. We are all one planet. There's no place better to make that point than in this building where it's made every day. But we can't make it too often. And thank you very much again for your attention, and I look forward to working with you.